regardless of their income and ethnic background, should have access to the best quality foods available in our society. A popular term that's used these days to describe the context of food scarcity in inner city neighborhoods, and that term is food deserts, which is coined to succinctly describe the communities that are lacking, access to healthy foods. Here in West Oakland, fortunately, there's been a great response to this issue from the community itself. So I and some other residents back in 2003 founded a nonprofit organization to join this local movement. And we developed a variety of projects and programs and small-scale enterprises, ranging from food distribution and retail to urban agriculture and food production to nutrition education. However, I realized the level of unmet demand for food in the community was so much larger than what we as an organization, or frankly all of the combined efforts of organizations in West Oakland are able to achieve. And I found that large levels of unmet demand for food products in communities presented a real entrepreneurial opportunity. When you look back at communities like West Oakland, really before the 1950s, they were completely different in terms of the landscape of food outlets that were available. You had mom and pop grocery stores, you had supermarkets, even the well-known chains that we have today used to have stores in these communities. But starting in the 1950s, they all began to leave. They began to follow the dollar out to the new suburban communities. And that left these neighborhoods without grocery stores. And so really for almost a half a century now, neighborhoods like West Oakland have gone predominantly without consistent supply of food in their neighborhoods, but general access to groceries. Low-income residents in a community like West Oakland are relying on two options for getting their food. One is going to the corner store, and these corner stores are typically offering product much higher in price than supermarkets, anywhere from 30 to 60% higher. They're typically offering a much more limited assortment of product, especially in fresher fruits and vegetables and whole ingredient products, and they rely very heavily on marketing snack foods and processed foods. The other option is traveling outside of the neighborhood, and typically residents in our neighborhood, about 50% don't own a vehicle, so they're relying on public transportation, or in some cases actually a taxi home from the grocery store, which is very expensive. And so that's real discouraging to many residents. It has a negative impact in terms of the money they have to spend and the time they have. In 2003, there were a number of vandalisms of corner stores in West Oakland that resulted in a big town hall meeting. And at that town hall meeting, many residents turned out, and they were upset not because the corner stores had been vandalized, but because there were no alternatives to the corner stores. And so that's when we started thinking about what does it take to build fresh food environments in inner city communities, and began a process of essentially experimentation in a variety of models such as the mobile market or the grub box. People's Community Market is being developed to provide a model that can overcome many of the barriers of developing and operating grocery stores in inner city neighborhoods in a innovative, sustainable, and replicable way that we can then share with other communities to adopt for themselves. A critical strategy that we're going to employ is partnering broadly with community organizations in West Oakland. People's Community Market is partnering with a nonprofit organization called Architecture for Humanity to design a different kind of building that we believe will cost about a third of what it costs to build a supermarket. And the way we'll achieve that is by using much simpler materials and a much simpler construction. So what's most inspiring to me is to see residents themselves making the efforts to create these changes. They are traveling far as necessary. They are spending more if necessary to make these choices for themselves and their families. I think it's important for entrepreneurs and investors to understand that while inner city communities may be low income at the household level, that the aggregate spending power of these neighborhoods is actually quite significant. We find that the total food market in West Oakland is equivalent to middle class and even some very affluent neighborhoods right here in Oakland itself. So there are real market opportunities here. There is spending power here.